No, to drive that point home, Mike, Jean-Luc Brunel basically has been a known rapist for literally 40 years. Like known,
Yes.
like not just like everyone talks about it, like how they talk about Epstein or Trump or Clinton. Like no, like 60 Minutes literally did like a 2-hour report on him
Yes.
being a
And there's been
rapist
a
in
BBC
the
did a report too.
80s. In
Yes.
the 80s.
In
Our listeners weren't even
1988.
born.
Yeah. I'm going to play a clip right here from that report.
It's a meat market. You are there for the purpose of somebody wanting to take you home to bed. He is acting as a matchmaker. He's got the agency. He's got the girls. His friends say, oh, Jean-Luc, I'd like to meet some girls, or we're having a party tonight. Can you bring some girls?
And what happens if you say no?
You don't work.
Now, you've actually known, be very careful on this, you actually have known that he has made someone pay a professional penalty for saying no.
I know. I paid a penalty for saying no. I was personally proposed to by himself, Jean-Luc, and I said, no way. I laughed in his face, and I had no more appointments, and I never worked.
But no, so this guy got his start as a model scout for Karen Models, which he's
Karen with an I.
Yes, which really gives him the creep. Sounds Russian. Within a few years, he becomes the head of the agency. This is in Paris. And he starts, I believe, from what I understand, this is very, very, very common in the modeling world to the point where it's basically just what happens. But he would take as much as 3/4 of the girls' salaries. And he would also, and remind you, a lot of these girls are foreigners who come to Paris to work. He would also take taxes and Social Security out of their checks, even though they weren't paying those in the first place.
Yeah, this is like a really, I mean, again, we covered this on the episode we did about modeling and Victoria's Secret, that this is like a very common relationship in the modeling industry between agents and scouts and models, where the models are basically like indentured servants to
Yes, yeah.
to these guys and these agencies.
Well, that's the thing is something that Brunel would do is he was famous for basically getting these models to come over, and then he would take them to parties with 10 or 15 men, and he would say that they had to have sex with those men or they would never work again. And this was like common knowledge. Everybody knew it, and everybody still used him. Do Eileen Ford, Liz?
Mm.
The Oh, well, she was the head of Ford Models.
Oh, okay, makes sense. Sure.
She was
I'm a
famous.
post-Fordist model fan.
She was famous for being very protective of her girls, and she would send them to France to work with Brunel. They would not get raped. Any other model that worked with him would be subject, essentially, to this. He'd also rent apartments to the girls and charge them like thousands of dollars in rent, even if it was like a friend's apartment. I mean, he was ripping them off. So he's also very famous for drugging and raping models too.
Yeah,
Like-
that was his signature move.
Exactly, like putting something in their drink and then taking them back. I mean, there's horrible in that we'll link to it, but the 60 Minutes piece about him and other modeling heads is so fucked up because it's like it shows him just he's this little creepy little man just like dancing like a maniac at this club with all these tall, beautiful women.
Yeah, it's awful. I mean, he was like literally banned from like several agencies.
Yeah. And I mean, it was a reminder, most of these agencies basically do the same stuff that he does, but just on a different scale. And so he must have been doing it really bad. So he's actually famous for discovering a bunch of models too, many of whose names I don't really know. I know who Mila Jovovich is.
Yeah, Mila Jovovich.
It's the girl from The Fifth Element.
Yeah.
Yeah, not my type. And who's Christy Turlington?
Are you serious?
Absolute dead serious. Explain to me
Oh
who
my
Christy
God.
Turlington is.
She's like one of the top 10 most famous models in history.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't know. Wouldn't it be weird if I did know who she was?
No, it would. It's really weird that you don't.
Oh, well, I do. I was just seeing if you did.
Mm.
And apparently other ones called Ginta Lapina and Juana Berga.
Yeah, that's not surprising you wouldn't know them.
Yeah, I don't know who they are,
That's
but they're
like
famous
for more
models.
like modelizers like myself.
Modelizers?
Yeah.
I'm definitely not a modelizer.
No, you
I
aren't,
did just
baby.
get a nice. I did just get a model boat for myself, but I'm putting it together. Anyways, so he was famous for discovering these girls, but again, like Liz said, this guy just keeps getting canceled via very prominent international media outlets.
This is the most canceled man in all of Europe.
But it just doesn't work. Like,
Yeah, like most cancellations.
yes. Like his in 88, the 60 Minutes report comes out and he gets in some trouble, but like he still just keeps doing the same job he does. 1999, 11 years later, a BBC investigation comes out that's like, this man is a serial rapist. There's a huge crisis management meeting in the Caribbean with a bunch of people from a bunch of agencies, including Karen Models, and he shows up with a teenage girl on hand.
Yeah. I mean, just doesn't give a fuck.
He is a real YOLO type man. But he founds Karen Models of America in 1995.
Yeah. I mean, we should say that, like, you know, the way that he would work is similar to, I mean, it's just not, I hate saying this, but like, it doesn't seem like his behavior and the way that he worked is at all exceptional. We'll get to what was exceptional about him, which was some of his friendships and acquaintances. But, he would basically, this is what model scouts do. They go up to young girls, mostly like 14, 15. So 13, 14, 15, 15 being I'd say the oldest, and promise them a career in modeling. And then basically, he becomes like a pimp to them.